So we're only going to be in here about 30 minutes or less. And what we're going to talk about today is going to feel super duper generic. It's going to feel like, what? I knew that. And I know that going in. If you go to any like big seminar, world renowned trainer, name one, whoever you're thinking, who's the most famous motivational speaker you've ever heard of in your entire life? Wherever that is, this is kind of what they show. And we got asked to do a webinar on objection handling. And sometimes in the service department, it's a little hard just to say, here's how you handle every objection that's ever came in. And just so you guys know, in my head right now, the majority of you are BDC folks. So if that is not what you are, this will work for you too. In my head, though, I'm thinking this is more geared towards a BDC. Now, what we're about to talk about today, though, really, really does work with just about everything with service objections and just any objection in general. So, whenever you hear an objection on the phone, in person, over an email, over a chat, anything, it's always important to remember why somebody objects. And you just want to think of their reason. And again, this is one of those things where it's going to sound super duper simple. Once you get this down, though, you're going to be able to call just about anybody and have good quality communication in just about any situation. Okay. So, why? What's the reason why? Maybe they believe the repair cost is too expensive. They're on a budget. They're not convinced of the importance of the repair. The customer plans on selling their vehicle soon. Whatever it is, if you get their why, it's going to be so much more likely that you're going to be able to overcome the objection. And when you're trying to find their why, and when you're trying to overcome their objection, the reason they're objecting is literally the reason why you could overcome the objection. You got to give a little bit sometimes to get a little bit. So if you have the end goal in mind, if you know where you're going with this thing, and you just have a little bit of empathy, a little bit of understanding and appreciation, you're going to be able to have a good communication with just about anybody. And people like doing business with people that are easy. Have you ever watched those FBI negotiator videos? And they're like, hey, when somebody has a bomb strapped to their chest and they're going to blow up a building, the first thing us FBI negotiators do is we get on and we go like this. You know what? I understand the reason why you're doing what you're doing today. And if I had the struggles you had and I grew up in the same place as you and went through, I'd probably be standing right there next to you. Why does the FBI tell the person, hey, I'd be right there next to you? Because it just is a good place to build common ground. And regardless if you agree with somebody or if you don't agree with them, just having good understanding of what people are going through really, really, really creates balance. Let me give you an example. I got $100,000 rental car outside, okay? I rented a Corolla. Now, how did I end up from Corolla to a $100,000 car sitting out there? I'm in the courtyard somewhere in Wilmington, by the way. We got a training here at the conference room tomorrow. I'm walking up to the rental cars, and the way that I rented my car was there's two lanes. Okay, I got a compact, midsize, whatever I rented, and there's two lanes with the compact cars carrying my luggage. I walk up to the person standing there that their job is to make sure that you get in the right car, and I walk up and I go like this. Whew, I'm so glad I'm finally here. I love renting cars from you people. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Every single time I come to this airport, you guys got the best service I've ever had, dragging my luggage. Yeah, I'm in a midsize. I'm going to walk these two rows. I've been renting from you guys for 20 years. Usually, if I find something that doesn't fit my luggage, I just grab something from the other row if that's cool. And I just keep going. Now, why did I say those things to the person? I love renting here. This is great. I've been doing this 20 years with you guys. Because I'm kind of priming the pump a little bit. Is that not complimenting that person? Is that not giving that person some understanding? Is that not telling the person that we're on the same wavelength? Whenever you say to somebody, you're right, you're awesome, I agree with you, it just feels good. Everybody on this webinar right now, I can't tell you how smart you are because a lot of you probably have a ton of experience. You've been doing this forever. Just the fact that you're on here shows that you're probably a top producer. How's that feel? Doesn't that feel nice? When you just agree with people and you meet them where they're at, when you just agree with people and you tell them something good, it feels nice. I did 2 mystery shops yesterday, live in a sales training. We do sales and BDC training. When I called up, I said, all I want you to do is just listen to see if the salesperson complimented my choice. I just want you to see if the salesperson acknowledges what I ask. I called up, brrrr. Hey, I'm calling on that 2020 Nissan Murano that I saw on your website. 2020 Nissan Murano. Let me check on that. They miss a huge opportunity. When in reality, whether you have the car, you don't have the car, whatever, you should go like this. 2020 Nissan Murano, that's a fantastic vehicle. I love that vehicle. What a great choice. Just doing that puts you in a better position. Now, how would that work with service? Somebody calls up, they hear a rattle. Hey, every single time I start my car, I hear this weird rattle from the engine. Okay, you hear a weird rattle from the engine? I'm so glad that you called. It's smart that you called, and I'll be more than happy to do everything we can to get that handled for you. Just acknowledging, just telling people that you hear them, whatever you're selling. And if you're in a service BDC, you're selling what? Appointments. And if you're in a sales BDC, I know there's people in here that crossover, you're selling appointments. If you're on the drive, you're selling the services. No matter what you are selling, just like the FBI people, empathy, understanding, appreciation is the best way to get what you're looking for. Hey, you guys are smart. I'm so glad that you're on here with me today. It's only been about 10 minutes. I know sometimes on a webinar, it feels like these things take forever. Just let me go to the next slide. Even just that, and even though you know what I'm doing, doesn't that kind of feel nice when you hear that type of stuff? Before you start agreeing, understanding, appreciating though, it's just important to understand the importance of what people are trying to do, okay? So first help the customer understand the importance of what they're trying to do. Have that in the back of your mind. My goal when I overcome this objection is just to help the customer understand how important it is. Begin with acknowledgement, end with the goal, and things are going to be good. So why did I compliment that person and tell him how great I was when I was renting the car? Because I wanted to get out of these 2 lanes, right? Out of the Corolla lane into the premium SUV lane. So the goal to help customers understand the importance of what's needed so you can set the appointment. If I'm on the phone, I'm trying to sell the appointment. If I'm on the service drive, I'm obviously trying to sell the service that they need and maybe some other stuff that may be a benefit to them as well. Agree, 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 end with the goal in mind. So from now on until whenever you touch a phone, you're in the BDC. As long as you know it's applicable, because we're in the service department, the goal is to bring the buyer in for a visit. Just know that when you're on the phone, what are you selling? You're selling the appointment. And as long as you're 100% honest with everybody and you have a ton of integrity, that should be the end goal. I'm on the phone, I want to bring people in. I'm on the drive, I want to sell the service. So everything I do here goes with that. Before I get into some of this stuff, when's the best time to repair a vehicle? Isn't it right now? Is it now the best time? Is the car going to fix itself? And if somebody just refuses to fix their vehicle, they're like, hey, I don't want to fix it. I'm never going to fix it. You may just want to ask how long they plan on keeping the vehicle. There may be an opportunity for them to sell the vehicle to the dealership. If you guys are structured the right way, you may be able to help them with that too. So just keep that in the back of your mind, those of you that are set up for these type of things. The next slide, we're going to talk about how to handle any objection in just about any situation. And I know it seems simple. Once you have this down, though, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, I can handle just about anything. I can understand that because I agree with you because I appreciate that because, and then you just ask for the appointment. Then you ask what you really need. So somebody says to you, hey, the price of this is too high. That's the reason why I'm not doing this. Just tell them the reason why You understand that the price is too high. You know what? I understand you saying that because it feels like everything's so expensive these days. And I know that you were not expecting this extra money to come out of your pocket to repair your vehicle. I promise you, though, this is the right thing to do. You're going to have to fix it eventually. You might as well just fix it now while your car is still drivable. Just agree with people. Hey, I don't have a ton of time to come back in there 3 or 4 visits. I totally understand why you would say that. And I agree with you. Most people don't have a ton of time. Let's set up a time for you to come in. I will talk to the service manager and I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that this is the fastest experience you've ever had. We'll make sure we get everything done as quick as possible. A lot of times that's all it takes. I agree with you. Here's why I agree with you. I agree with you. Here's why I agree with you. And then just ask for what you want. If you do a mystery shop to either your dealership or another dealership service or sales department, just ask them a question. This will just get blown over. If you're in a room right now, turn to the person next to you and just say, "You're right." Come on, do it. "You're right. I agree with you. I understand why you're saying that." It just feels nice. The more you give, the more you get. The more you agree, the easier people are. I know that you're saying that you didn't want to spend that extra $3,000. I completely understand because $3,000 is a lot of money. And I know if I brought my car in and it needed a $3,000 repair, that could mess up with a lot of budgeting that we have going on. Let me talk to my service manager. I'm going to let him know the situation. Why don't you come back down to the dealership and I'll make sure that we do everything as cost effectively as possible. That's obviously for a service decline. Let me recap all this. Keep in mind what the end goal is. You're on the phone. The goal is to set an appointment, being 100% honest. You're on the drive. The goal is to sell the product and service, whatever the person needs. Before you start trying to sell somebody something and they give you an objection, just find out why they're objecting and then let them know you understand what the objection is about. Is it about money? Is it about time? Is it because they don't believe the repair is necessary? I understand your concern with thinking that this isn't a necessary repair, and I appreciate the fact that you're even bringing this up because a lot of people don't even tell us what the real reason is. Let me assure you this. We would never ask you to do a repair that wasn't necessary. Why don't we set some time up and I'm going to talk to my service manager and just make sure everybody's on the same page? Agree, agree, agree. Go for what you want. Agree, agree, agree. Go for the close. And when someone's keeping their vehicle but pushes back on scheduling an appointment, a lot of times, if they don't set the appointment, you just got to figure out what the real reason is and then possibly take that to a service manager. I know not everybody is set up infrastructure wise. If you're a BDC person, though, and they're like, "Hey, I got quoted $3,000 by you guys. My local shop said they could do it for $2,500. That's the beautiful thing about Numa being the communication portal. It just makes it easy to communicate with everybody. Ping the manager, let them know what you have, and I think you'd be surprised how many folks will actually set the appointment. I agree with you because I appreciate you because let's do it. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Derek Simons. If he's available, we'll do some Q&A.
Folks, feel free to drop questions within the chat, or if you feel comfortable, happy to let folks ask our hosts directly the questions that they have.
You know what? You're so smart, Chris, because it's so tough to just come on here and solicit feedback like that. And you're a genius because I love working with you. You're so awesome. So do us all a favor and just go ahead and throw some stuff in the chat, please, everybody.
That felt great. Thanks, Kyle.
Hey, no problem. Electronic hug.
Kyle, I understand what you were trying to accomplish in this webinar because I can see the results of using these techniques live every single day when we work with dealers that are out there doing this. And the whole goal here is that we want to make communication easier for you and for your customers. And that's part of the reason why Numa exists, is to help safety net that communication and allow you that opportunity to be able to continue that communication. What we want to do with these drive the drive things is give you some, little tips and tricks that you can go back and implement. And, empathy is a critical piece. One of the things that, we were talking about the other day was actually how do we train an AI to be empathetic, right? And if any of you have used the write it for me function inside of Numa, you'll see that in action because the AI is actually trained to exhibit empathy in the communication using the write it for me little magic wand down at the bottom of the screen. One of the things that we are doing is we have AI tips that we're sharing. That was one of the tips that I was just sharing is how to use Numa to create that empathetic communication. Use the write it for me function. Put in the basics of what you're trying to do, hit the write it for me, paste that, just click the button to send, and it'll paste it right into your messaging with that customer. Super simple, super easy, and the AI is literally trained to be empathetic. One of the things I like to do is I like to read what the AI says in those cases because it helps me visualize how I can be a better communicator as I'm texting with people. The second thing that we wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and bring this up. You are welcome to go to numa.com/learn and download our guide to AI agents for dealerships. Now, this guide has got some handy dandy stuff talking a little bit about what's coming as far as the future and what we're actually already bringing out today. And so anybody that's looking to get a little bit more education on autonomous AI agents and how AI agents are going to be impacting what happens in auto, please click there, download that little white paper. I think you'll find it informative and interesting. When I look at the stuff that Kyle's talking about, I really, really cannot overemphasize how much we as a company believe that all of you on this call, on this webinar, are the ones that are creating the experience that the customer wants and desires. Look, we know this for a fact. When a customer's coming into the service department, when they're trying to schedule an appointment, they're not thinking, oh, joy, I get to schedule an appointment today. They're actually kind of upset about it because they either have to call because they got basic maintenance or some kind of maintenance that needs to be done that they know is going to cost them money and time and inconvenience, or their car's broken and they're freaking out because they got to go pick up their kid from daycare. They've got to go to work tomorrow. So this is not necessarily the favorite call that they're going to make this week. Empathy and understanding goes a long way in creating an opportunity for you to secure that appointment and to move forward with the conversation. So work on that, think on that, and know that we at Numa truly believe that you, the human in the loop, is the one that drives the conversation. The AI is there to back you up, but we want you to be the one that's learning these techniques and is able to employ these techniques with customers in a way that creates opportunities for you to get that appointment scheduled and take care of the customer. So download this. It's not that long. It's a great little white paper, gives you some information about what's coming down the pipe. Remember, empathy. You understand because you get it because, and that's going to create that opportunity for you to take the conversation deeper. All right, Chris, I can't see the chat. Did we have any chat conversations?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
How does Numa help with some of the objections that we typically see at our dealership?
Okay, so I think, and Kyle kind of hit on this, is that one of the things that Numa is going to do is capture those conversations, and it's going to get that in front of you with the important information. Obviously, we've got the integration with the DMS, so you have that visibility there. You also have all of the customers' communication that they've had ever with the dealership is in that stream for that conversation. So if you are informed and you are able to look at this information, it puts you in a position where you can be empathetic and you can communicate to the customer in a much more efficient way. Mr. Customer, I see here that you had reached out to us because your left furbagator valve is not furbigating, and that is a concern. And we certainly understand that because we've seen other people with that same situation. Rest assured, our trained technicians will be able to take care of you. In fact, I'm looking at scheduling the appointment. We have availability tomorrow morning as early as 7:15, or I could work in the afternoon around 1:30 if that would work better. So just approach it with all of the information, and Numa, the AI, in its automatic responses is going to be as empathetic as possible without being corny. Numa is also going to give you all the information that you need so that when you initiate that conversation, you can be much more powerful with it. You can be empathetic because you understand what's actually happening. All right. Is there another question, Chris?
And let me just throw this in real quick. The simplest, most basic thing that gives you the best results. We do hundreds of thousands of mystery shops every single year, and the majority of people, less than 10%, actually give some empathy, understanding, and appreciation at the start of the call or even during the call for what things are. I promise you, start doing some of this stuff with your language, and you're going to be surprised about the results. Chris, we got one more question, or?
We do, and it's specific to Numa. Does Numa support CDK?
Yes, we do. So we are fully integrated. We're fully integrated with CDK and love working with CDK. CDK has been a great partner of ours for a long time.
We actually have a number of integrations available for folks that are interested. Techion, Reynolds and Reynolds, lots of third parties that we support to make the process of solving dealership challenges easier.
Yep, CDK, DealerTrack DMS, Techion, PBS, Dealer Built, and Reynolds and Reynolds. Right. So those are our DMS partners. We're obviously fully integrated with Xtime as well, and working with several other scheduling solutions at this moment in time.
Okay, that's it in terms of questions. Luis, you're asking about will the link to the session be available afterward? Yes, we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar to folks that registered.
Love it.
Love it. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Let us know if you want to see something on a specific topic. This is only the second one of these we've done. And so we're trying to get the topics from you guys. Objection handling best practice was the first topic we were suggested. So that's why we did this. If you're like, hey, I want a call guide for service declines. I want voicemails to get calls back. I want to know what text messages I can send that get more engagement. You tell us, and we're going to try and deliver. If we don't hear anything, we'll just pick it for you. So
yeah, and scan that QR code, give us the feedback, and register for the next one there, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. Appreciate
it. Kyle, do you want to advance just really quick to the last slide there?
Oh, sure. Boom, there we go.
Yeah, as Kyle mentioned, we do this monthly. So the third Wednesday of the month, our next session is on March 19th. Please snap a picture of that QR code and register for the next one. We'll continue to have these and just share some really valuable information about how to improve your dealer service.
Boom. Appreciate it. We'll send this down in the email too.
Absolutely. Thanks all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.